is a little bigger. I don't know how well he's hooked.
That's kind of one of those we've been looking for.
Out of your line and bring it around. I think smallmouth are one of the most exciting fish to catch.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Got one on too, Barb? Oh, good. Pat's got one off the back too.
Okay.
That's like a good old double, are they?
So we're definitely...
Yeah, smallmouth too.
Smallmouth? That's too bad. He's been doing so well with the rock bass. Oh, you might fall off. Look at this.
That's beautiful.
Only on one hook. You know, that rock bass was almost as big as this smallmouth.
It was.
I tell the viewers, when you're handling the crankbaits, you got to be so careful.
Oh, you do. You can have a hook in you so fast.
Especially some of the series where you get the bigger hooks. So that's a nice St. Clair smallmouth. That fish, he's not quite 3 pounds. If I was to measure him, I think he's about 15.5 inches, 2 3/4 pounds probably. Very healthy.
Beautiful fish.
I think this fish is all done spawning and he's feeding already on the flat, even though it's early in the year here on Lake St. Clair. So I'm just going to drop him into the water.
Got a nice, beautiful stomach on him where he's been eating. And...
Yeah, good fish. Now, I don't know how many of the lures you use, Clay, have some of these sure set hooks. You know, I got to tell you a story. About 2 years ago, I started using a lighter and melting the lips to give the lures more side-to-side action. And I guess they like the idea, so what they've done is done this with the Thug. But it's got the sure set hooks, and I know there's probably times when the sure set hooks aren't good to use.
Right.
And you probably had experiences, right? Around timber and stuff.
I have. That's the only time that, that I don't, because I know some of the baits that I fish like that have those hooks. And when you're fishing open water, I like them. I really like them.
Because even that fish, really the hook, the main one that he had in his top of his yap was that back one, that's longer. So, if you like to fish, whether you tournament fish or fish for fun, check out the hooks when you're buying the lures, because they'll vary in sizes, and sometimes you can upgrade, you can put bigger trebles on, but you got to be careful that you don't take away the action of the lure.
That's right.
Well, I think we should...
Are you going to catch another one?
There's so many different fishing lines on the market that sometimes it's very confusing what lines you should use for what type of presentation. I usually tell people that if you're casting hard baits, especially crankbaits, it really helps if you have a stiffer rod and if you use a low or no stretch line. And the titanium braid is ideal to use. Now today, because we're not really targeting really large fish, maybe bass up to 4 or 5 pounds the biggest, we're just running with 15-pound titanium braid, which is the diameter of 6-pound test monofilament line. Now, because the braid is not clear, it actually has a green color, we're also using a fluorocarbon leader. And the leader that we're using is 12-pound test. Now, on this bait casting outfit that I have here on the right, you can see the 2 colors of the line. The green line is the 15-pound braid, and then the clear line, which is about 2 feet long, is the fluorocarbon that's tied directly onto the lure.
Fisher girl! Gotta have pink!
One of the best live baits you can use when you're fishing in fresh water is live minnows. An easy way to transport them is just to put them in a plastic bag. People will either buy these at a bait shop or they'll catch them on their own. The one thing that's very important to remember when you're using minnows is that you're not allowed to transport them from one body of water to another, and when you're done using your minnows, you're not allowed to release them. You have to pour them out somewhere and let them go to sleep on dry land. Okay, Amanda, why don't we show them how to hook a minnow? So Amanda's going to demonstrate. The first way that we're going to show that you hook a minnow is if you're drifting in a boat or dragging the minnow along the bottom. So we're going to hook it through the lips. So if you can just hook it under the bottom of the jaw and up through the snout, be very careful, it's a sharp hook. And if you can just hold it so it dangles so they see it. The reason we're doing that is so that if you're pulling the minnow through the water, it's swimming horizontally. The second way that we hook a minnow, if you're using a float, which we do have set up on this line, we take the minnow, and even though most people hook it through the back, they put the hook through one side and the other side, I'm going to show you a really good technique. You actually take the hook, face it towards the head of the minnow, you put it in one side of the minnow, just below the back, and you don't go through to the other side. You just put the hook through so it's on the same side of the bait fish and pointing forward, just the way I've done there. So when this minnow hangs under the float, you can see that he's going to be swimming horizontally. And the reason I haven't gone across from one side to the other is so that if a fish does grab this minnow, most game fish and even large panfish will take a minnow head first. He's going to get the hook in his mouth, and he won't be able to put the hook inside the minnow. If you put the hook from one side to the other, sometimes that happens. That's an easy way to hook up minnows.